So I was reminiscing about last year when I was in New York, and I was thinking about how awesome it was to have met artist Albert Diaz. You see, I'm a fan of Jean-Michel Basquiat, and since I learned about him around 2004 or 2005, and I wanted to know more about Jean-Michel Basquiat, and so I did my research. I've been to the library where many years ago, that is, I borrowed, what did I borrow? A DVD that featured Basquiat in it, Downtown 81. I listened to the soundtrack for that movie. I've been to a few Basquiat art exhibits. And my appreciation for his art was pretty much immediately when I learned that he was a young black man in America, creating art. And in that art, he paid homage to his heroes, black athletes, black entertainers. That struck a chord with me. And I appreciated his artwork. So I wanted to know a lot more about the artist. And I remember feeling very sad to learn that he was deceased when I learned of him in 2004. He passed away in 1988. Well, in an effort to learn more about the artist, in an effort to, I guess that's really what it was. My motivation was to learn more about Basquiat. I reached out to Albert Diaz. And Albert Diaz was Basquiat's running buddy. He was a good friend of his. And in fact, they collaborated. Basquiat and Diaz collaborated on this idea called SAMO. And for these young kids, they were young at the time, they were creating a religion called SAMO. The SAMO was borrowed from an old saying that they attributed to, black Americans. Same old same, or same old shit, right? Same old same. And well, personally, I was fascinated with their creation, SAMO. And I was fascinated with the popularity they gained, or rather the popularity that Basquiat gained from his SAMO sayings that he wrote on walls. Basquiat became hugely famous. Sadly, he died at the age of 27 in 1988. But because Albert Diaz was Basquiat's friend, co-collaborator, running buddy, because he knew the man, there was very little reason why I shouldn't have reached out to Albert Diaz when I was in New York last year to learn more about Basquiat. In the process, I learned a little bit more about Albert Diaz. And I guess my appreciation for Albert Diaz's continuation of the SAMO brand, of the SAMO art tradition, has grown as well. But I'm just happy that, what these young guys created is still moving forward. you know, is still being carried on. And the fact that the Basquiat Diaz intersection occurred is wonderful. So I had a chance to meet with Albert Diaz. He granted me an audience. He said, you know, he said, come, no problem. See, I asked him. I was in New York, and I thought, man, that would be cool if I could get an interview with Albert Diaz. And so I found him on Instagram, and I decided, what the hey, let me just send him a message. So I sent him a message asking him, now this is the way that I recall it. I sent him a message on Instagram asking him if he would, you know, grant me an audience. I guess that's how that phrase is supposed to be used. But I asked him to meet with me. And so he chose a Starbucks near his home, and he basically said, yeah, if you're willing to come my way, yeah, I'll meet with you. What the hey? Yeah, no biggie. So that was a pretty cool, event. He didn't have to do that. And, you know, I think about it and I'm like, wow, that was pretty risky. That was a roll of the dice for Al, you know, because I could have been, you know, some crazy stalker type of, you know, fan. And he just welcomed me right on in, you know. I'm thinking of like John Lennon and that dude who killed him. Like, that's far from what I wanted to do, you know. I was just there to ingratiate myself in the Basquiat legacy that, you know, was in part, you know, the Albert Diaz legacy. I wanted to learn more about Basquiat and in part learn more about Albert Diaz. And the fact that Albert Diaz is alive, well, you know, that was the reason why. So, first things first, yeah, we met at the coffee shop, Starbucks. It was too loud there. They had the speakers playing, so we left. And I think Al didn't even care for the noise. As soon as we met, he was just like, come on. Like, he had somewhere else in mind. Like, come on, man, come with me. Like, the Starbucks is just where we met. You know, I have my audio equipment and things so that I could record our interaction. Basically my smartphone, my iPhone. I had a little microphone, which I didn't even use. Yeah. But I knew personally that the Starbucks was going to be a bit difficult recording there because it was so loud. The music was playing. But Al just was like, come on, let's go. So I'm like, whoa, where are we going? So there we are walking through Brooklyn. He's like, yeah, I'm going to take you on over here. So he takes me to a park. All right, cool. The park is a cool place. We sit down and then we talk. The first segment is where Al tells me about Beat Bop. And he also notices that on my cell phone, on my iPhone case, I have the Beat Bop artwork or the Beat Bop album cover art. Like, you know, the cover art for albums. Yeah. So I had the Beat Bop cover on my smartphone. And then Al notices that and he's like, hey, I played instruments on that song. So that was a cool little thing that he told me about.
A lot of people making Basquiat like art. Oh, look at your nice phone case. You got.
Oh yeah, Case Defy got Basquiat.
You got the that's Beat Bop, right?
Yes.
You know I played on that record, right?
No, I didn't know.
You didn't know that? See, that's what I mean. These motherfuckers suppress the information. Have you ever heard the record?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you hear the percussion. That's me playing. I used to, in the 80s, that's what I did. I played percussion.
All right.
And Basquiat, you know, we hadn't done anything in a while, and we started hanging out for a bit back in '83. So he called me for the gig. He said, "Al, you want to play on the record?" I said, "Sure, yeah, let's do it." He paid me. He paid me, but I still ended up getting somehow, what is it, BMI, or it's one of those.
Some royalties?
Not royalties, but I got writing credit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, I got writing credit on it. Me and we all got a little writing credit.
In the next segment, I asked Al about the style with which he writes his SAMO quotes, because for me, it was a style. It was something unique, something I hadn't learned to do. But for Al, because he was an art student, because he had taken drafting classes, for him it was just second nature, because it's actually a draftsman's style or a draftsman's technique. Now, because I hadn't taken a drafting class, I wasn't privy to this knowledge. I didn't know, and I thought I thought the way that they wrote, the way that Albert Diaz writes his letters and so forth and so on, I thought that was very specific, unique to Albert Diaz. But he was like, "Nah, man, I'm just using the draftsman's style." So I was like, "Oh, okay, right on." But anyway, I wanted him to show me how to write the letters, because I wanted him to teach me draftsman's writing, so to speak. And so that's what he did. He wrote the alphabet for me, and I got that from him. Sitting here with the man.
What is this?
Just sign this for me.
Electoral. What is this bullshit? Board of Election. Oh, I gotta send the.
I have a book. Let me pull out my notebook.
I gotta send the. Change of address for Board of Election.
Got moleskin here.
Oh, moleskin, nice. So here, you do an alphabet for it.
All right. I see it.
Oh, I don't know. I was gonna cross that, but I don't know what I did there. John used to do this every now and then.
Yeah.
It took me too much. I did it a few times. Oh, more than a few times, but it was too much work.
All right.
It's much easier for me to do that than it is to do that. Mentally. But a lot of people use that E and they like somehow. There's so many people that do Jean-Michel style art. Like kind of childlike art.
Mm-hmm.
It's become a style, I guess. And as a result, there's also a lot of forgeries. A lot of forgeries.
Something not to be overlooked is that Albert wrote a SAMO tag. Like when he wrote that SAMO tag, like he put it in there. Like that was a nice, a nice little special, a special thing. I've got the artwork right here on the back. I have the the moleskin he wrote in. I have that framed plus another artwork that he did, but he tagged it with the same old tag. And that same old tag, I mean, that's, yeah, man, that was pretty cool. You know, that's art in and of itself, man. That's some cool stuff. So, yeah. So he created a work of art right there in my moleskin. In addition to the other writing that he put on there, yeah, he put that in there too.
So the whole essence of a message like that is what you were talking about. It's like some sort of disregard for authority, right? With or without your approval.
Yes.
That's the gist of it, yeah. Or you know, it's a comment on consumerism and all the rest of it.
Consumerism, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just so tedious.
See, you know, when he wrote the same old tag, you know, Albert mentioned something about consumerism. And if you watch this video, you'll notice just about at the same moment that he says consumerism, you see the Asian man walk by wearing a t-shirt with a consumer brand name written across the shirt, you know, American Eagle, like, you know, case in point right there. That's consumerism right there. In the next scene, the next clip, Al writes his original tag. The original tag, the one that started it all, the one that the young Albert Diaz would scrawl over, you know, the city, you know, as an expression of graffiti, you know, art. Bomb one, that was his tag. And he also writes the crown, draws his crown, and gives a little bit of a explanation about the crown.
That was my tag right there. It says this.
I see bomb in there.
Yeah.
Bomb one.
That's it. Now the thing about the crown is a graffiti thing that no one fucking invented. It's just like, you know, I mean, there were some early examples of it. But Jean didn't. Some people think that's his crown.
Right.
It's his crown. He has his own crown.
Yeah.
But there were many people who did crowns before him and continue to do crowns after. That's my crown. That's another one of my crowns. But graffiti artists, you know, he would take like whatever. He's done this in a lot of his art, and it's what it is the pigeon prints in the cement. So he would just pick up stuff that he sees.
And then Al talks about Bitcoin. And I'm so glad that I recorded this and I got a little bit of this discussion. Bitcoin is controversial. I still believe that there are some big things that can happen for Bitcoin, because check this out. During our conversation, which took place in September of last year, Bitcoin was at $19,000. Now it's up $6,000 from that conversation in September. And there's this halving, it's going to be halving event that's going to take place in 2024 that could potentially, you know, shoot the price of Bitcoin up much higher. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Al talks about Bitcoin here, and yeah, the shoulda, woulda, and couldas, you know. Yeah, shoulda, woulda, and coulda. We talk about those things. I guess you have to learn to live with regrets, as Jay-Z, you know, says.
Comment on Bitcoin. you get when you spend what is it, untangible, you get the intangible.
Yeah.
That's it.
I had a buddy tell me about Bitcoin in 2015. I was in Peru. I was working, teaching, and
Boy, you traveled, man. I've been
Yes,
to
sir.
Peru. I was in Cusco and
Yeah.
all over Peru. I was in Lima and Cusco.
when he told me about it, it was like $215 or $250, and I thought that was expensive, and now it's at 19,000, and it already reached 60,000.
But it dropped too, right?
Yeah, at the highest, its highest, it was around 60,000,
Yeah.
and right now it's at 19,000.
There you go. Plummeted.
So
So that's how the things would have been to cash out when it was 60.
right, but had I gotten in at $250, then
You would have bought a few of them Bitcoins.
yeah. And then the last thing to end the day, Albert Diaz signs my book. I bought a copy of his book, and he signed it for me. And
Wait a second. What's wrong with this marker? I gotta get another one. Maybe this one. Yeah. My silver marker. I do not understand what's wrong with you. .09 or 109?
109.
Okay. I don't like this. What happened to my marker? Seriously, huh? They're all fucked up. What? This is so strange. Unless these are just the old ones. Yeah, maybe this is old. Yeah.
Cool. So all in all, I had a great time meeting the artist, Albert Diaz. He gave me some gems, you know. It was a really nice meeting. You know, I can only think of, you know, that meeting was actually priceless, you know. That was his time that he shared with me, and I learned a lot more about him, about his process, about art, about his you know, beginnings in art, because you know, he's been an artist since he was very young. You know, this is nothing that he just, you know, jumped into. This is something that he's, you know, cultivated, and he's very aware of what he's doing, you know. Because I kind of got the feeling that this was sort of just some kids just doing whatever, but they actually were, you know, they were being trained, they were being guided, and then they just had to find their voice, and then they had to just continue to meld their training with their creativity. He had to put those two things together and then, you know, have a career. And that's what he has now. So yeah, he signed my book. So I've got the artist's signature on, you know, in my book. I've got some memories from my trip to New York in 2022. So that's about it. I'm sitting here with the man. What park? What's the name of this park?
This is McKinley Park.
All right.
This is this is Bay Ridge, Brooklyn.
I just checked the clock. It was 11:09, so I'm staying within traditions.
Oh, cool, good. So keeping
And
your true to your pattern. That's good. Consistency is good.
So this is a Labor Day weekend. This is a Monday.
Labor Day. Today is actually, I think today is considered Labor Day. The Monday, I don't know. I really don't.
Right.
Because it's Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
But which is actually Labor Day? I guess it's today. Because it's Monday and it's still the weekend.
And I had no idea. I don't follow the holidays. I don't keep up with them. I'm not paying attention to the news, so I didn't know.
Until this morning?
No. I think it was when I came to New York 3 days ago or so. When I checked in, I tried to switch rooms, and the guy told me, "I'm sorry, we're fully booked. It's Labor Day weekend." I'm like, "What?"
Oh, that's right.